Good
All right,
morning.
going live. Hello, how's everybody doing today? So we can know that if everyone can hear us and see us okay, you can see on the right side of your screen, you can type in some text. You can touch an emoji and just kind of let us know that you're there and can hear and see us okay. And just
Just your
can,
first name would be fine.
there we go. Hello. Hello,
Hi.
Shiloh. And then just throughout the
Hi,
presentation,
Jennifer.
know that this will be interactive. So if any time you have questions or comments, hi, we've got Vicki and Crystal. And so anytime during this presentation, you can go ahead and ask a question throughout. It'll be interactive, or you can put a comment in if you feel like you need to. And so we'll go ahead and get started. We got a good number of people here already. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and just introduce myself. My name is Jessica Colarco. I'm a licensed clinical social worker here in the Henderson area of Nevada. My Henderson practice focuses on helping my clients learn to set boundaries, improve sleep, reduce stress, and let go of the past.
Hi, I'm Kara Green. I'm a psychotherapist in practice for over 30 years. First part of my career, I was in New York, where I'm still licensed, and now I'm in the Green Valley area of Henderson also. My practice is a general practice. I work a lot with anxiety, depression, and life cycle changes, marriage, divorce, parenting generally, but most of my work is with anxiety and depression. Do a lot of bereavement, so it's kind of general. And we want to welcome you today. And before we go on to today's topic, Jessica and I thought it would be beneficial for us to just give you a little idea of um, what we discussed last week. Some of you are new, and so this will be new to you, and some of this will just be a refresher. Jessica, why don't has anybody joined us in the last couple of minutes? And if so, could you just type your name at the bottom of the screen so we know who's here
Yeah, we got
before
a
I
couple more
start?
people join, and then Karen and I are getting really fancy. So we're going to share some slides today.
Yeah,
So,
we're so
oh, there we
impressed
go.
with ourselves.
And so,
Hi, Susan.
all right. All
Okay.
right, Karen.
So, one of the things that is so important to realize at this moment is that, as we discussed last week, during this very, very difficult time, increased anxiety is to be expected, and it is perfectly normal. And we discussed the importance of, first of all, and probably the most important, is acknowledging that we feel anxious. Just in the acknowledgement in and of itself will help to reduce your anxiety. It's best not to fight the anxiety, acknowledge it. One of the terms we used last week was name it to tame it. So not only do we want to acknowledge it, but we also want to try to really define and delineate or give a nuance to what it might be so that your anxiety covers many, many different feelings. And the best thing to do to help reduce it also is to delineate those feelings. You could be feeling isolated, insecure, overwhelmed, lonely, afraid, helpless. Once you put a name to it, that will also take the sting out of feeling anxiety. Jessica?
And we also talked about balancing your worry with logic and facts. Once you're able to identify your worry, once you're able to name it, and I guess let's say you name feeling anxious, and your worry is, I'm worried that we're going to have this pandemic extend through July, right? So we examine, then we look at the facts. Base Worrying about being backed by facts. So sometimes once you look at the facts, you very well might find that your worry is just a worry. It's a worry and not a reality. And we also talked about shifting your focus to what you have control over. So shifting your focus away from all of the things you're not able to do right now and shifting your focus to what you have control over.
Okay, so today we are going to discuss the physical manifestations of anxiety. First, we're going to discuss how our body holds on to anxiety, and then we're going to discuss many, many, many different techniques of how to reduce that anxiety. So what I like to do first is give a little background of what exactly we're going to talk about stress first. And what is stress? And Jessica, if you can put up
Yes, I'll
the
get the
older
slide for
generation, she
you.
does this so much better than I do. Okay, so there are two types of stress. We are all familiar with distress. And that's the stress that distress is the stress. When we say stress, we're really referring to distress. But there's another type of stress that we're all familiar with also, and that's called eustress. Eustress is the positive, it energizes us, it's generally short term, and it's something that we think of in terms of being able to handle. It's within the realm of our coping mechanisms. So it keeps us alert, it keeps us motivated, we can become excited, and it keeps us focused on the task at hand. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples of eustress, and then I'd like you to add some. So starting a new job voluntarily might be one. Planning a wedding, winning the lottery, moving into a new home, having a child. Can anybody think of any other things that might be considered eustress? Just type them in if you have any thoughts. Wonderful, Margie. Sense of humor. Oh, a reunion.
Yep.
Margie gave us coronavirus for a eustress. I'm not sure where I see that's positive, but good sense of humor.
A reunion's a good example.
Absolutely. That's wonderful. Okay, so, now we have a little bit of feeling. Margie, why is the coronavirus a good stress for you? Oh, Jennifer, I'd like a trip. Oh, you guys are now into talking about distress. So let me go on to that.
Distress.
Let's talk about distress, because a couple of you put in what the distress is. Distress, on the other hand, is the type of stress. Can we go back to that other slide? We are referring to when we say stress. That's eustress. It's the form of stress with negative implications. Generally, it feels unpleasant. It often depletes our energy. It's short-term or long-term. It decreases our overall performance, and it's perceived as outside of our ability to cope. And it can lead to physical disease, distress, or illness, or mental fatigue. I'm going to list a few of them, and if you can, please, we so far have that's very good, Margie. Fran. Fran first wrote troubled relationship with adult children, and now we're going back to the positive, which is positive relationship with the other child. So you can have both. So what are some of the things that cause you stress that might be a little negative? Financial challenges, major personal injury, something that we cannot control. Okay. So now we just added troubled relationship with children can be a distress. Retirement can be a distress if you're not prepared or if it's forced upon you. Tension with roommates for sure. That's an ongoing, constant stress. Having to deal with elderly parents, especially if they're ill, or just dealing with elderly parents. Sometimes that's enough. But so many of us are in the sandwich generation, and that's a tremendous amount of stress dealing with your parents. So when anything else? So when we experience distress, or when the negative abilities overwhelm our ability to cope, it's giving us a continuous activation of our nervous system, and it puts us into the stress response. And the stress response causes wear and tear on our body. So I'm very briefly, because this is just for your informational purposes, what are some of the physical manifestations of stress? Well, your respiratory system is immediately affected. And we either breathe harder and more quickly in an effort to take in more oxygen into and get blood-filled oxygen throughout our body. Or on the other hand, we also can have quick and shallow breathing, so that you can do, it's the quick and shallow, like, which is mostly associated with panic and anxiety, but that also can lead to hyperventilation. So when you're doing that shallow, deep breathing, you're having some physical manifestation of anxiety. Stress wreaks havoc on our immune system. Cortisol, the stress hormone, is released into the immune system, and we become more susceptible to infections and to illnesses or chronic inflammatory conditions. Our ability to fight or flight is decreased. The muscular system is also affected. Our natural response when we're feeling anxious is to tighten our muscles, and that's protective. But too much repeated muscle tension can cause pain and aches. And especially if it recurs in the shoulders or the neck, it can cause headaches or certainly migraines. And this is what I think we're all aware of, and it's something to think about. There are many cardiovascular effects of stress. We know we're in acute stress, our heart rate goes up and our blood pressure jumps. Well, and then when the acute stress dies down, usually our heart rate goes back down and our blood pressure recedes. But if acute stress is repeatedly experienced, or if stress becomes chronic, that can lead to changes in our blood vessels and our arteries. This increases the risk for heart attack, stroke, and hypertension. And any of us who are not chronic anxiety people, but any of us who experience stress have also felt some of the gastrointestinal effects. Heartburn and anxiety, upset stomach, bloating, nausea, diarrhea, constipation. So those are really the effects of stress for some people. And the last one we want to talk about is the reproductive system, which can have an effect on men's testosterone level and sperm count, and women's premenstrual symptoms and the menstrual cycle in and of itself. So now that we know what anxiety and stress can do to our bodies, Jessica and I are going to now go through some physical and some exercises to do to reduce that stress. Has anybody ever done progressive muscle relaxation? And those of you who are patients of mine will recognize this well. Oh, Fran, I just saw what a stress is, trouble remembering. Yeah, you're in my age group. We all have that. That was going back a while. Okay, so progressive, let's see. Margie, yes, and yoga. Okay. So I'm just going to do a very quick exercise. I'm going to read it to make sure I get it straight. And what I'm going to ask you to do, if you're comfortable, is to sit in your chair, get in a very comfortable position, and close your eyes. Progressive muscle relaxation is an exercise that reduces stress and anxiety in your body by having you slowly tense and then relax each muscle. So let's just sit here and relax. This exercise can provide an immediate feeling of relaxation, but it's best to practice it frequently. With experience, you will become more aware of when you're experiencing tension and will have the skills to help you relax. During this exercise, each muscle should be tensed, but not to the point of strain. If you have any injuries or pain, skip that area. Pay special attention to the feeling of releasing tension in each muscle and the resulting feeling of relaxation. So let's begin. Get comfortable. And if you can and you're comfortable with it, shut your eyes. Begin by taking a deep breath and noticing the feeling of air filling your lungs. Hold your breath for a few seconds. Release the breath slowly and let the tension leave your body. Take in another deep breath through your nose. Hold it, and then slowly release the air. Even slower now. Take another breath. Fill your lungs and hold the air. Release the breath and imagine the feeling of tension leaving your body. Now let's move to your feet. Begin to tense your feet by curling your toes and making an arch of your foot. Hold on to the tension and notice what it feels like. Do it tightly, but not to the point of strain. Release the tension of your foot. Notice the new feeling of relaxation. Next, begin to focus on your lower leg. Tense the muscles in your calf. Hold them tightly and pay attention to the feeling of tension. Release the tension from your lower legs. Again, notice the feeling of relaxation. Remember to continue to take deep breaths. Next, tense the muscle of your upper leg and pelvis. You can do this by slightly squeezing your thighs together. Make sure you feel tenseness without getting to the point of strain. So let's hold that for 5 seconds. And release. Feel the tension leave your muscles. Let's take a nice deep breath. Hold it. And as you breathe out, feel the tension release from your whole body. Now begin to tense your stomach and your chest. You can do this by sucking your stomach in. Squeeze harder and hold that tension. A little bit longer. Now release the tension. Allow your body to go limp. Let yourself notice the feeling of relaxation. Continue taking deep breaths. Breathe in slowly, noticing the air fill your lungs, and hold it. Release the air slowly. Feel it leaving your lungs. Next, tense the muscles in your back by bringing your shoulders together behind you. Tense them as hard as you can without straining, and keep holding. Release the tension from your back. Feel the tension slowly leaving your body and the new feeling of relaxation. Notice how different your body feels when you allow it to relax. Tense your arms all the way from your hands to your shoulder. Make a fist and squeeze all the way up your arm. Hold it for 5 seconds. Then release. Notice the feeling of relaxation in your fingers, hands, and shoulders. Notice how your arms feel limp and at ease. Move up to your neck and your head. Tense your face and your neck by distorting the muscles around your mouth. Release the tension. Again, notice the new feeling of relaxation. Finally, take a deep breath. Hold it. Release. And tense your entire body. Tense your feet, your legs, your stomach, your chest, your arms, your head, and your neck. Tense harder without straining. Hold the tension. And now, allow your body to go limp. Pay attention to the feeling of that relaxation, how different it is from the feeling of tension. Begin to wake up your body by slowly moving your muscles. Adjust your arms and legs, stretch your muscles, and open your eyes. How was that for anyone? Did you feel more relaxed after you completed it?
Yay.
Okay, Susan, wonderful. Vicky, was good. Good. This type of relaxation exercise, in my practice, I used to make tapes. Probably people got tired of my voice. But you can find this on the website. It's called Progressive Relaxation. You'll find many tapes of it. And if you need be at the end, just get in touch with me and I'll send you a
Script.
yeah, I'll send you the script on how to do it. I've used this for years and it's really beneficial. The best way to do it, of course, is to do it on a regular basis. Some people say 30 minutes. I don't know anybody who's ever done it for 30 minutes, but if you have the time and you feel it might help you, it's something good to do. Okay, Jessica.
Yeah, and I was just going to add too, I do that a lot of times if I see children in my practice and they're kind of have a lot of energy or have a hard time sitting still, we'll start the
Right.
session with that. That's something you can do, with your children or family members if they're having a hard time getting to sleep. Start relaxing your body. And also just if you don't have a lot of time, even just clenching your fists and releasing, something free you can do anywhere that helps you kind of focus, focus where the tension can be and releasing. All right, so we're shifting to talking about, have any of you heard of the new term, the COVID-15, right? It's kind of a spin of the freshman 15 of gaining weight when you first go off to college. So a lot of people are, right, we're home a lot. Maybe, gyms are closed. Depending on where you live, you may not have the ability to get out and about or exercise the extent, or just because now we're home, your restaurants are closed, we're eating it. People are posting, everyone's baking bread and making muffins and baking cookies.
Several of my friends got air fryers and we're experimenting. Jessica, I know, as when we were talking about
air
recipes
fryers
before we went on the air.
You can put all kinds of things in the air fryer.
Yeah, so much fun.
And so, people have been talking about gaining weight during this time. And, emotional eating is a strategy that people use to address uncomfortable feelings. Stress, anxiety, boredom are all emotions we may be feeling while we are quarantined at home. For many people, food has become a source of comfort. But the fact is that you can snack and binge all the food in your house, but those feelings will only be numb temporarily. Once you stop eating, the feelings are back. So we want to kind of talk about some strategies to gain control of emotional eating. If you find yourself wandering to your kitchen or your pantry, I encourage you just to set a timer for 20 minutes, okay? Leave the kitchen and engage in an activity. Maybe it's putting a few things away, starting laundry, doing a crossword or draw something. Think of some activities that you can identify ahead of time. That way when you find yourself going to have food when it's not a regularly planned meal or snack, then you have that activity to engage in for those 20 minutes. After 20 minutes, if you still think you need to eat, then choose something that you put on a plate and sit down at a table or a counter and eat it. As we discussed last week, routine is incredibly important for our mental health.
I have to interrupt one second.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw Margie's post about eating. And this will bring levity to this whole situation. My husband is feeding me because there might be a meat shortage.
Oh.
Okay.
You're putting, you're preparing for possible famine.
For hibernation, right.
Yeah. Okay, so as we discussed last week too, routine is incredibly important for our mental health. Many people find themselves overeating when there's too much time on their hands. Look at your day and see if you might need to add a bit more structure. Maybe create a project to focus your attention on, or increase the regularity that you can connect with your support system. You can check on with your loved ones with social media, text them, go on a social connecting app. You can make a video to send or write them a note. These are strategies to be able to shift your focus from your emotions into actions. Finally, grounding techniques can be helpful. When you're mindlessly engaging in maladaptive behaviors, such as emotionally eating, it can be helpful to engage in a technique that reconnects you to the earth. Grounding techniques distract you from what you are experiencing and reconnect you to the present moment. By refocusing on your body and what you're physically feeling, you get out of your head and you divert your mind away from anxious or stressful thoughts and you go right into the moment. It helps shift your brain and your nervous system from the fight or flight mode. We did deep breathing last session. Deep breathing is a grounding technique. And one of my favorites is the 5-4-3-2-1 grounding technique. So I'm going to share my screen and go over that. And I encourage you to go ahead and do this activity while I'm talking about it. So some of it might have you walking around your room. But 5-4-3-2-1 grounding is number one, you're engaging in your 5 senses. So look around your room and identify 5 things that you can see. I see my computer, the carpet, my ceiling fan, photos, and my water. Okay. And then the next one, sometimes we have to
let's give them a moment to do that.
So take some time and look around. And if you want to type in the 5 things that you see, go ahead and write down, enter in the 5 things that you see around your room. And so sometimes you can do this while you're taking a walk, or you can walk around the house as well. You don't have to just sit to do this technique.
Isn't this working?
And then let's look at 4 things you can touch. Okay. I can touch my plant back here. I have a fun sculpture I can touch my books, and something simple, my hair. Okay, so I'm touching my hair. What are 4 things that you can touch? Again, this can be fun. There are a lot of textures. It can be fun to go walk around and try to find things with different textures. What are some 4 things that you're able to touch, physically touch? I encourage you can also close your eyes during this, so you're really focusing on the one sense of touch. And then after you've identified the 5 things you can see, the 4 things you can touch, let's close our eyes and think if we can identify 3 things that we can hear. You can use my voice, right? You can hear my voice. I can hear my computer fan. I can hear my kids out splashing in the pool. And I can hear my ceiling fan. Then we can open our eyes and transition to the sense of smell. What are 2 things that you can smell? When I do this in my office, I always have peppermints out. Right now, I'm a huge fan of aromatherapy. Within reach to me are aromatherapy, so I can smell some lavender. And for whatever reason, I have pine needle oil. So I'm going to smell my pine needle oil. And again, this is an opportunity to walk around and have some fun and go see what you can smell. Anybody able to identify anything? I can only see the PowerPoint. Kara, can you see people contributing?
Oh, well, for people, the sounds were keyboard, kids talking, dog breathing, motor of my computer, Jessica's voice, my breath, TV in another room, Kara typing, you guys, Jennifer's voice typing, she heard an airplane. And now we're talking about smells, wonton soup, I'm coming over, shampoo, dog breath, salad, tea, grass, TV dryer, husband's voice on the phone, shirt, pillow, soap, perfume.
Very good. And then the last one would be taste.
No, if we're not eating, I can't taste anything.
I can't. I guess I can taste I think water has a taste. I'll sip my water, but I don't. You know, I don't think water has a taste, so I don't taste it.
Margie's back to her wonton soup.
And so,
okay.
and I think if you're doing this and you don't remember, you're like Jessica said, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I don't remember what the senses were. Just remember, ultimately, it's about 5 senses and 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So if you wanted to do 5 things you could smell, 4 things you could hear, whatever, right? It's just really more about, like I said earlier, bringing you to the present moment. Grounding is about bringing you to the present, out of the physical symptoms of anxiety or whatever is kind of going on in your brain, and really bringing you back to the present moment. So we're going to look at other grounding techniques. Another grounding technique would be to pick up an object around the house. Hold an object in your hand, really bring your full focus to the object. You can see the patterns that run through it, see the color variances, look at where shadows may fall on parts of it, or maybe there are shapes that form within the object. Feel how heavy or light it is in your hand, what the surface texture feels like under your fingers. This can be done with any object you have lying around. Or if you know you're going to go into a stressful situation, you can take something with you. A lot of times gems or stones can be good for this. And you can put it in your pocket or purse so you know it's a calming exercise that you're going to focus on just what's in your hand and what you're feeling. Another simple grounding technique, if you really find that you are distressed or having a difficult time getting out of an emotion, running warm water over your hands. Feel the sensation over your palms and fingers. And then you can switch the temperature to cold water and focus on how different that feels. Another one would be taking a walk. I'll be discussing moving your body later, but moving your body is a great way to connect to the present and reduce feelings of anxiety. Kara?
Okay. Speak. Listen to your voice. Use your voice, especially if you're alone. This will help bring you back into the present. You can say your name. You could pick up something to read. You can pick up a book and read the first paragraph that you see. Or just, in my case, read the ingredients on a bag of chips. Just out loud. The more senses you use to bring yourself back, to ground yourself, will make it easier for you to calm down. Call a friend if you have a chat. That chat can be about anything, but focus on the conversation. Don't let your mind wander. Don't think of all the chores you have to do when you get off. Just focus on the conversation. Look in the mirror. Try to smile, even if you don't feel like it. Give that smile and see what it feels like. Look at it. How does it make you feel? Don't allow negative thoughts to intrude at this point. And now I'm going to do a guided imagery, which has been my favorite for years. I use it all the time. And to be honest, when I feel a little stressed, I do it myself. So I want you to calm down, relax, sit back in your chair, close your eyes if you can, if you'd like to. I want you to imagine yourself, you can look at this image also on the screen. I want you to imagine yourself very calmly walking along the beach. Calmly walking, your feet sometimes in the water, sometimes on the sand, and just enjoying a nice stroll. This is not the time to look at your watch and see how many steps you get in or how many miles you can walk. This is the time to stroll. Leisurely, relaxing, calmly. Just walk. Look at the trees, look at the water. Look off into the distance. Look down at the sand. Just walk calmly. Very calmly, you're walking, and off in the distance, you see 2 trees with a hammock, and it looks very appetizing. So you continue walking, not necessarily speeding up, But having those 2 trees in the hammock be your goal to get to. And you walk calmly, very relaxing, very relaxed, strolling, kicking up the water, moving off a little into the sand and feel the sand in your feet, and then walking back to the water. You're just strolling. And eventually you reach that hammock and you lay down in it. And you see the hammock before you lay down, actually. It's just moving ever so slightly in the breeze. And you get into it. And you have to do a little bit of effort to make it swing in the breeze because you weigh more than an ounce and you have to push it a little bit. And then you just lie there, swinging ever so gently, looking up in the sky, looking towards the trees, looking at the water, and just relax. Maybe you fall asleep, or maybe you just thoroughly enjoy the scenery. And that's the guided imagery. You can pick one for yourself. You can call me, I'll send you a tape of this. And then again, you have to like my voice. But you can find many, many guided imageries online. And so I think that's something I just like to do because I like to think about doing that. So Jessica?
I want to talk a little bit more about moving your body. As I touched on earlier, taking a walk is an excellent way to bring you to the present moment and ground you. Exercise in general is an excellent strategy to ease or minimize anxious feelings. Studies show that one instance of exercise can ease anxiety when it's elevated. So I wouldn't focus on how much exercise is best. Any time that you're able to move your body is fantastic. You know, Kara did an incredible job explaining how stress negatively impacts our bodies, and exercise can help alleviate those effects. Engaging in exercise diverts you from the very thing you're anxious about. Moving your body decreases muscle tension, lowering the body's contribution to feeling anxious. Getting your heart rate up changes our brain chemistry, increasing the availability of important anti-anxiety neurochemicals, including serotonin. Exercise activates frontal regions of the brain responsible for executive function, which helps control the amygdala, our reacting system to real or imagined threats to our survival. So I know we talked a little bit last session about fight or flight when our body is stressed, and that all comes from the amygdala portion of our brain. And so exercise activates that and helps reduce the feeling of being threatened. Exercise regularly builds up resources that bolster resilience against stormy emotions. Moving your body is another great grounding technique. You're able to shift your focus to the present, and being in the present is a form of mindfulness.
Which brings us to meditation and mindfulness meditation. So before I go into the explanation why it's so beneficial and why it seems to be something that people talk about all the time now, I'd like to do a very, very brief 1 or 2 minute mindfulness meditation. If you already know how to meditate and you do it on a regular basis, this probably is going to be a shortened version of what you're used to doing. If you rely on apps and guided meditation, you can certainly find one that is short. If you don't know meditation or don't want to rely on an app, you can do Benson's meditation, mindful meditation, which I would like everyone to try with me. So here we go. Surprise. Take 1 or 2 deep breaths. I think we've all realized by now that taking deep breaths is always the way to start de-stressing. Take 1 or 2 deep breaths. And then start breathing normally, saying 1 to yourself each time you exhale. As soon as you catch yourself thinking about something else, the argument with your partner, what you need to get to in the store, what you're going to prepare for your COVID-19 dinner, simply go back to saying 1. Don't worry if your mind bounces around. It will, until you really get into the habit of doing this. Simply just return to 1. Breathe in, think in your mind 1. Breathe in think in your mind one. That keeps you focused on your breath, not allowing any other thoughts to come in. You can open your eyes now. Okay. So now let's go a little bit about why meditation works. No one knows for sure what causes anxiety. It could be genetic. It could be a basic personality type. It could be some trauma. But there's also evidence, and this is really important to realize, that anxiety can be caused by an imbalance of brain chemicals, which Jessica touched upon momentarily, and the brain chemicals can be changed by severe or prolonged stress. So this is where meditation comes in. Meditation has become one of the foremost strategies of reducing stress. In fact, the latest research coming out of Johns Hopkins University is saying that meditation is as effective as commonly prescribed medications. So even if you've never meditated, you can use meditation to train your brain to become less anxious. So being on the lookout for danger kept our ancestors safe and alive. But in the modern world, hypervigilance of your mind takes a toll on our bodies. So what does anxiety do to the brain? Anxiety doesn't make you feel sad. It changes the structure of your brain. Anxiety causes the fear center of your brain to become more reactive, causing you to become even more anxious. And then we get a vicious pattern. I'm anxious, my brain is the area of the brain that deals with anxiety and fear is getting larger, so that I'm becoming more anxious. And it's just a vicious cycle. And this leads to more worry and anxiety. Stress, fear, and anxiety also triggers the release of stress hormones, creating an imbalance in chemicals in the brain. But here's the really interesting. Meditation, like anxiety, also changes the structure of the brain, but for the better. And here's the best part. Meditation reverses the damage caused by anxiety. Meditation can build a bigger, healthier brain. The brains of people who regularly meditate show measurable increases in the gray matter, and the size of the area of the brain region associated with fear, anxiety, and stress decreases. So let's think about that. The area of the brain, once you do meditation, the area of the brain associated with fear and anxiety decreases in size and becomes less reactive. Meditation increases the blood flow to your brain, and it increases and improves the neural connections between various areas of the brain. A primary way that meditation helps anxiety is also by breaking negative thought patterns. As anyone with anxiety knows, racing thoughts also create a vicious cycle of worry. Breaking this vicious cycle of obsessive negative thinking is where meditation shines. It decreases the tendency to worry and improves your control over random unwanted thoughts. Meditation, absolutely for sure, it's been proven over and over again, can alter the way your brain responds to stress. So this is what I found unbelievably interesting, and I read it many years ago, and now I have it back. I've been doing research for this. I saw it again. The average person has 70,000 thoughts per day. 70% of them are negative. That's a lot of retraining. That's a lot of retraining for our brain to do, and that's when meditation comes in. It really trains your brain not to focus on those negative thoughts. And there's a term that we use in psychology and physiology called neuroplasticity. And fortunately, our brains have the ability to change. And that's called, as I said, neuroplasticity. Meditation trains you to view your thoughts differently. And instead of following a worry pattern and everything that goes with it, you bring this down to realizing that your negative thought is just that, a thought, and then you can let it go. Last week we talked about feelings, and we said there, a feeling is just a feeling. It's not an action. A thought is just a thought. You don't have to act on it, and you can change that thought pattern. So, as I said, the mindfulness meditation that we did a few minutes ago is really one of the best for a beginner. And it really is the meditation of choice for people who are suffering from anxiety. I just gave you one, and mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present, very much like grounding. You'll see these are all connected. So it focuses you on the present and not overly reactive or overwhelming to what's going on. So once again, there are innumerable sites on the website, videos available for free. Check out one or two of them and find the one that you like the best. Jessica, I think we have time for the grounding chair. What
Yeah,
do you
we'll
think?
see. Yeah, we can ask. So I put our information up there. Sorry, I didn't mean to do it like that. I kept pushing enter. But Karen, I know I have some guided meditation files. I don't know if they're called MPG files, whatever. So you can email or call us if you'd be interested in getting any more information about meditation as well. But so we have some time. So let me know with a thumbs up or a thumbs down if you want to do one more technique. It's called the grounding chair. If you guys are still wanting to learn one more technique, let me know. We have some time.
Or
Okay, we've got
let us know how this has been for you. What parts did
okay.
you like? Okay, so certainly certain people want. So let's do that. And then at
Okay.
the end, I'd like to recap and see how this was for you.
Perfect. Okay. So now what we're going to do is called the grounding chair. And so I want you to sit down. Well, if you're sitting down in your chair, okay. But I want to make sure at the chair that you're in, where your feet can reach the floor. I want you to close your eyes, and again, focus on your breath. Breathing in slowly for the count of 3, then out slowly. Bring your mind's focus to your body. How does your body feel sitting in the chair? Scooch your bum back right into the back of the seat so the whole length of your back is pressing into the back of the chair. Can you feel the contact between your body and the chair's surface? If the chair has arms, touch it. Is the material smooth or textured? Press your arms down the length of the chair arm. Notice how your hands hang off the end. If your chair doesn't have arms, touch the material on the seat. How does it feel? Next, push your feet into the ground. Imagine the energy draining down from your mind and down through your body and out through your feet into the ground. I picture it as a color filling my body as it goes down from top to toe. But it's your image, so choose whatever you want your energy to look like. As the energy drains from your head, feel how heavy each body part becomes. Your torso feels heavy, and now your arms as you relax the muscles. Lastly, feel the heaviness go down your legs, through your feet, and down into the ground. Scanning your body for any more areas of tension. You can focus on those areas and then have that tense energy Flow down through your torso, through your legs, down, out through your feet, into the ground. You're emptying out the negative or anxious energy out and having it drain down and out through your feet and away. Bringing your focus back to your breath, breathing in slowly, in through the nose, out through the mouth. And now you can slowly bring your awareness back. You can open your eyes if you chose to close them. And how did that feel? That was the grounding chair, something you can do when you're sitting in a chair. How was that? Susan says there's a great free meditation app called Insight Timer full of guided meditations. Yeah, there's a lot of great apps. I know there's also one out there called Headspace.
And I keep on seeing Calm advertised. I've never looked at it.
Oh yeah, Calm's a new one too.
A
Yeah.
new one.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
That's called Calm.
So those are, you have to pay for those versus Insight Timer, which will be free, and which is nice to not have to pay when you're exploring and checking things out. YouTube also has some great guided meditations as well that are at no cost.
So how was today's session for you? Was it helpful? Do you think any of you will try any of these?
You know, our goal today was to really give you some tangible things you could take away with you to help address any anxiety. Well, some people, I guess, kind of answered already when they said very good. It was helpful. Yes, I will try them. I was feeling very anxious today about work, and these exercises help bring me back.
Okay, I do some of these techniques to sleep. Somebody else said they're very helpful.
That's great to hear.
Actually, I was a little nervous about doing this and preparing, reading over my notes earlier today. I became less anxious. So I think it does work. So next week, we're going to do a very interesting session because it's going to really address how to care for yourself emotionally, not only when you're anxious, but just in general. And we hope many of you will join us again. Please pass this around to your friends. And also, if any of you feel that you would like to talk to either Jessica or myself, our cell phone numbers are up a little higher, as are our emails. And be in touch with us if you feel a need to talk or you just want to talk. We are available.
And then also, this session was recorded. I want to say taped today. Was recorded today. And so I will also send out an email if you missed anything or want to go over some of these techniques later. We'll email all of you the recorded session. Are there any questions anyone else has before we end for today? Or I didn't get Kara's email on there. What happened?
I got it.
Okay.
Okay, so we look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you everyone for coming
we'll
and
next
taking
week at 12.
thank you for taking time out of your day to learn something new. Thank you all, and you all stay safe and well.
Okay, thank you. Bye-bye.